Just got the call I've been waiting on, telling me I got the job. Just got approved for the new crib, picking up the keys to mine. The sun is shining brighter than it ever has, no. I'm smiling more now than I've ever had. I don't deserve the things you do, and I just can't believe that you keep blessing me the way that you do.
Lord, you did it again.
Yeah, you did it again. Why did I? Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again.
Yeah, you did it again.
Why did I? Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again. My sister just got in a wreck, walked away without a scratch. Lord, it was nobody but you. My daughter's about to graduate with all A's. That's good news. The sun is shining brighter than it ever has. Ooh. From the bottom of my heart, I wanna thank you for that. Oh, things you do, and I just can't believe that you keep blessing me the way that you do.
Lord, you did it again. Yeah, you did it again. Why did I?
Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you from the depths of my soul.
Why did I?
So many great things, so many great things keep on happening in my life. I'm so amazed, I'm amazed every day. Lord, you keep on my mind. I can go all day, I can go all day. Just when I thought it was over, you turn around and did it again.
Said I don't deserve the things you do.
I just can't believe that you keep blessing me the way that you do.
Lord, you did it again. Yeah, you did it again. Why did I?
Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again.
Lord, you did it again. Yeah, you did it again. Why did I?
Oh, Lord, you did it again. Lord, you did it again. I'm gonna put my trust in you and keep doing what you do.
Why did I?
YDIA, that's Zacardi Cortez with the song Lord, You Did It Again. And I'm excited on this Monday because I know God is up to something great and he's getting ready to do it again. The Bible put it like this: eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the good things that God has prepared for them that love him. And I know that God has some great things in store for you that has been prepared, and he's going to do it again. Don't worry about what you're going through. God is getting ready to give a repeat performance. It's going to be an encore one. Listen, if you're listening to me, you already know what I'm getting ready to say. It is your favorite time of the day. It is 2 o'clock, and you're listening to your boy Neal on this Real with Neal radio talk show right here on Win DC Radio. And I am excited. We have a wonderful program prepared for you today with some amazing guests that have come to join me to be with us, to bring some great information, some enlightenment to your life, to help you in the things that you are believing God for in your ministry, in your business, in your family, whatever it is. We're going to do the best we can to help prepare you so you can be propelled into your greatness. I'm excited off a great weekend. It was Father's Day weekend, as well as celebrating 17 years of marriage. It was what we call the weekend of double. It was 17-17. 17 years on the 17th day. It was double. Yesterday was the 17th, was it, D? Yes, why are you looking at me like that? It was the 17th day, and we celebrated 17 years And so we are just excited off a great weekend, a great Father's Day weekend. I have some of the cast crew back with me. Got my man Neal in the building. What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I had an opportunity on this weekend to be with two great preachers of the faith. First, we have Apostle Sherman Farmer here, man, who is a great preacher, great general in the faith in the making. And then we have the one and the only, my spiritual father, and it's definitely in the prophetic, and that is the person of Prophet Brian Jefferson Mosley. So I had an opportunity to be with them. On a personal note, I had an opportunity to be with my kids. They action figured me to death.
I can imagine.
Last night.
Did my man have his drumsticks?
He did. He even came. He even came to Apostle Farmer's church with his drumsticks ready. Prophet made him dance. He put them drumsticks down, so it was an amazing weekend, man. He did come with the drumsticks.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Good to see you as always, man. You're looking good. Good to see you. The lady is back with us again this week. Lady, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Hey, everybody. I had an incredible weekend this weekend, and yes, it was 17 years. Not always easy, but it has been worth it. 17, it is the time of double. 17 years on the 17th day. We actually got married on Father's Day, so it fell on the actual day.
What a gift.
So I am just excited. I'm still on cloud 9 from the weekend, and it's not over yet. I'm just believing God for greatness and great things to come in the very near future.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What a gift. And I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to behave. We have Dr. Mosley with us, so I'm going to behave. I'm not going to cut up like I normally would. I'm going to behave.
You to cut up.
But what a gift on Father's Day. But it's been good. It's been good 17 years.
Indeed, sir.
Trials and tests. I tell people all the time, love ain't love until it's been tested. And it'll show what true love really is of how it comes out of the testing.
Exactly.
If it can't survive the test, then it was never really love. I'm going to leave that alone and keep moving. We got some great guests in the building on this Real with Neal show. As Neal mentioned already, when we were talking before the show started, he said to me, don't call him apostle, call him Bishop-elect. So I want to make sure that I'm in order today. We have Bishop-elect Farmer in the building with us today on this Real with Neal show. Bishop, how you doing, man? How was your weekend?
Pastor, everything is great, man. When you got your father with you, you can't go wrong.
That's right.
Yes, sir. And we are celebrating the Prophetic Patriarch Month series in our church. So I thought it would be behooving to have the man of God, the father of all prophets, Prophet Brian Mosley with us.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm great, man. Thank you for having us.
I'm glad you're here, man. It was definitely a pleasant surprise, and glad that you were willing to sit in. It's going to be a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's get the party started.
The doctor is indeed in the building. I have had the privilege and the pleasure to grow up following this man, and just had the privilege to be in services that he was the speaker at. And when I tell you the accuracy that is on his life, the prophetic mantle that's on his life, the anointing of God that is on his life to speak directly into your life and to the things that pertains your life, we are literally blessed, guys. Lady,
Yes.
I'm telling you, the Real with Neal show
Yes.
is blessed today and favored today to have such a great general in our midst to be with us.
Absolutely.
Dr. Brian Mosley is in the building on this Real with Neal show. Dr. Mosley, how you doing, sir?
Well, if it got any better, I couldn't stand it. They'd have to make another one.
Prophet, how was your weekend? You were telling me before the show started, you was telling me that you were at a service and you were preaching and you were talking about Father knows best, and you was dropping some major nuggets before the show got started. Can we just kind of chime in on that a little bit to get the show warm? You were talking about Father knows best.
Yeah, I first want to say that I am very honored to be here. First and foremost, for the invitation by Apostle Farmer inviting me down this weekend, and then for Reverend Williams and his family, and him putting it together and then asking you, could I come? and then celebrating with you all on your anniversary.
Yes, sir.
So this is a wonderful thing, and I am delighted that out of all cats, the big cats, you just chose a little kitten to come.
Too much. Too much.
So I am deeply and sincerely proud of what's happening here, and the excitement that you all have. You can feel it in the studio, and I want God to just bless you, and that you will reach hundreds of thousands, millions of people. And this is the medium that God would use, the technology, the platforms. You know, when I came along, we used to wonder when we was in Bible school, how is the gospel? How will it go to the four corners? And God touched a man by the name of Mr. Gates and Mr. Jobs. And then we know now that from Black Panther, the movie, that our people are some of the originators of technology. And that's a whole nother conversation. And as quiet as it's kept. So then God brings us to this point in our history. And I spoke yesterday about the Ethiopian stretch.
Yes, sir.
And I believe that we're on the brink of something.
Wow.
The church will lead. The kingdom will lead. This is what you're doing now is kingdom.
Wow.
We church on Sunday. We worship on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
People get saved on Sunday or the Sabbath or whatever. But what I'm saying is kingdom work is being done Monday through Friday. And so it's just an amazing time to be alive.
Wow.
That you can see it.
Indeed.
It's incredible.
Indeed.
You know, you run out of superlatives when you think about what God has placed in our hands. And I didn't answer your question, but
that's amazing. That's amazing, especially to sit there and say that the kingdom, the ministry is done Monday through. You know, so that let us know that we should always be working. We should always be progressing, always be moving forward. You know, to the things of the kingdom, the things of God. I want to ask this question to kind of be a help to our listening. We have those that's listening way of internet radio. We have those that's watching us Facebook Live. Of me being a father when I say this, and I have to kind of look over at my wife because sometimes I forget how many kids I got.
Jesus be offense.
It's all right. I forget how many kids I do have.
But it's okay because I got all of them, so it's okay. It's
all
all right.
Yeah, I ain't got no
It's
baby
all right.
mama
We
drama.
got no baby mama
Thank
drama.
the Lord.
Yes, God. Bless His name.
Yeah. So it's four boys.
Four
boys and one girl.
One girl.
I have the privilege to be able to discuss the matter of fatherhood on both sides of the spectrum, and that is as a biological father, and that of a stepfather. When I met my wife, she had a son, and so I took on that responsibility at the age of 15. At the age of 15, I took on that responsibility. I tell people all the time, my dad allowed me, shout out to my dad, Apostle Neal, my dad would allow me the privilege. I started preaching when I was 15, and my dad would allow me the privilege to preach every Sunday night. And so every Sunday night he would let me preach, and back then he would be nice and bless me with a little offering, and on a good Sunday night I may get $150 on a good Sunday night. And I would take that money and meet up with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, would meet up with my girlfriend, and I would give her the little love offering that they gave me to try to help her with her son. And so I know both sides of that, of the natural and that of the stepfather. So you were talking, as we were warming up, getting ready for the show, you were talking about three things that you mentioned when it talked about that of the father. And as we coming off of this Father's Day weekend, can you kind of just touch a little bit of that, of what are the important areas of, if we can use the word successful, being a successful father in this generation? Because sometimes it's hard.
And of course, you know, and all of us know that it's been given a bad rap.
It has. Yes, sir.
And men at some point should take responsibility for that. However, it's a different day. I always want to celebrate men on that day, fathers. On Mother's Day, You know, everyone is all excited.
Yes, they are.
But when you look at the whole concept and the role of a father, this subject cannot be exhausted.
Yes, sir.
Because everything rises and falls with a father.
Wow.
And you have 4 boys.
Yes, sir.
Now, your family will continue. You know, as a theologian, you know, as a scholar, you know, as a seminarian, that there is something about the male child.
Yes, sir.
The emphasis was on
The male child.
This woman having this male, because it would be the continuation, posterity, if you will. All of this comes in inheritance, patriarchal. Now, in the African American family, I experienced a mother who was the matriarch, and in the black family, in most cases, in a lot of cases, the woman was the sole proprietor, because for some reason, and we're not gonna get it. I mean, whatever, the man walked out and left his responsibility. But I need to take my hat off to you, because you showed at 15 or whatever age,
15,
what love is. That was something that I can imagine that took your heart. I mean, that just,
he got me.
yeah.
It took my money, too.
Well,
I got her heart and she got my money.
well, that's what happens.
That's what I tell them, sir.
That's what happens. And all the brothers that are on the phone with their little girlfriends, and they're young now, and they can't get off to 4:30 in the morning. You gonna pay for all of that?
You're talking to my 2 youngest sons right now.
See,
Yes.
all boys know what that's all about.
Yes, sir.
Mom, when I was a kid, my mother used to, the cord. See, back in those days, they had a cord, and so my mother would follow the cord to my bed, and she'd say, "Give me my phone." What are you doing? I'd act like I was asleep, and my girlfriend was on the other end saying, "Are you still there?" And my mother would click the phone or whatever. But listen, it comes with the territory. But you're blessed. How old is your oldest?
Our oldest is 25.
25.
Isn't that amazing? And you both, they look
26.
Thank you,
So
sir.
you
God
have
is
to
going to
give us.
forever bless you.
All
I
right.
promise you.
All right.
All right.
I want to know what the secret is, because you all have taken care of yourself, and you have a great responsibility as far as a father, and you've shown that young man what a real dad is all about, because there's a difference between a father and a dad.
Yes, sir.
Anybody can
Yes, sir.
drop the seed
Yes, sir.
in a fertile bed. But
Wow.
what is different is
Wow.
Watch yourself,
when that
guys.
man takes up that role and becomes a dad. This is my daddy, you know, or this is my pops. And I'm a product of a foster family. I was a ward of the state,
Wow.
and I had nobody to take me. And I was almost born in a club back in those days. And so my mother was an alcoholic, and that's a whole nother story. But I'm like Gladys Knight. I have no sad story to tell you.
That's it.
I'm not looking for this, you know. I'm just telling you that when God is in the picture,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
when he's in the details.
When he's in the
See,
details.
I'm not lucky. I'm just loved. You know, so you
Sir.
see, so you see what love will do. Love will have you give and demonstrate. You don't
Wow.
walk around the house talking, but I'm the dad here.
Wow.
Well, we know that because we're always eating. We have utilities. Mom don't have to worry about anything.
So in
You're
other
talking
words,
good.
So in other words, Dad, the characteristic of a father is not projected through words, but rather through action.
Yeah, and most of us, we watch kids parrot what
Yes,
they
they do.
see. That's
Yes,
how
they
they
do.
learn,
Yes,
and
they
our
do.
evangelist knows. We learn from what we see, and so when a child sees his dad on his knees praying,
Yes, sir.
he stands back and looks. Your son Sunday, you're his hero. It's obvious.
Absolutely.
When he started dancing, that foot was going like that. I said, "That's a Dwayne foot."
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And it's amazing that you are taking the time. He loves the basketball game.
Yes.
That's, you know, something that you.
Yes, sir.
I told him, who was the guy I told you remind me of?
Harden.
He doesn't like
James Harden.
He doesn't. He gets quiet when I say that. Can you tell me why? Is that your guy, that Dwayne Harden, or that do you like him?
My name is Dwayne Harden. No, his name is James Harden, and I'd say he's a great player. He's just not my favorite.
Well, you look like, you all have this look.
Well, I wish I had his money.
Well, you have more money than he has.
Because I'm connected to you.
Well, you know, yeah, but you're connected.
Yeah.
You're connected to the Father.
Yes, sir.
And Father knew best, and Father knows best.
Yes, sir.
And I'm quite sure with the 4 boys, and you have how many girls?
1.
Now tell me about how that works out.
How does what work?
With the girl, because she's the only girl, right? Besides the lady of the house. Is she spoiled?
Prophet.
Rotten. We don't even have to.
Mosley,
we're not going to beat this conversation.
That will
she's
take
rotten.
up the remaining of the show.
Yes.
That she has me wrapped around her finger.
Twice.
She owns it. She runs it. She owns it.
How old is she?
She knows it.
She will be 17 next week.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
She'll be 17.
everybody is just about grown.
Just
yes,
about.
the baby is 15.
Well, okay, and so you're going to be going back to honeymooning and
Sir, I receive all of what you're saying right now.
17 years.
I receive it.
So you're going to do this all over again.
Yes.
Except the baby part.
Well,
No profit. No joke.
Except the baby part.
No, we're done with
We're
one
not
daughter.
doing that over again.
We have one granddaughter.
That's done.
My
Now,
25-year-old has a daughter. She's 4.
how is she doing?
She is, I love her to pieces.
That's your heart too.
Indeed.
He melts when you start talking.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing about Marcus that actually drew me to him was the love he had for his family. And it wasn't just his family, it was the love he had for his mother. There wasn't anything that his mom could ask for that he would not kill himself to do. And I've always been taught a man that will love his mother and a man that will treat his mother right is just a premiere and a glimpse of how he would treat his wife.
That's exactly right.
And he has done the exact same thing. I don't want for anything.
Isn't
I
that
don't
beautiful?
need for anything.
Look at that. Well, that's the recipe right there. And it's amazing because the same way I felt I can relate to that because my mother lived to be 86 years old, but when there wasn't a time, and when you're talking, I'm thinking, my mother told me when I was a kid, she says, I always want you to be a gentleman. She says, and promise me you will do that. And I was raised by a mom who, she didn't read the Bible at home because she was not saved. But the interesting thing is she gave me the soft skills, the morals, and she kept her thumbs on me. Those were the days when I came in and my mother used to what I call play Judge Judy. Where you been? And I, of course, you know, I'm gonna have to come up with something. And she said, okay, now you just told a lie because you weren't there. And if you ever watch Judge Judy, it's almost like she's prophesying. She's saying, you know.
Yes, sir.
And, so my mother checked me. Where did you get the money from?
Wow.
Who gave you the money and why did he or she give you money? So all of that situation went on, and my mother loved me. That's why I'm lovable.
Wow.
See, when you have somebody that loves you, and then when it came to the role of a man, I had uncles. However, I didn't have a dad in the house at some point. But I've never heard my mother run her husband down.
Wow.
She used to say to me, "You when you get older, we're going to have a conversation if your father doesn't talk to you first."
Wow.
So, it's an amazing thing in light of what's happening in our world today with teenagers and of course, like you know, there's something else that happens too. When a boy becomes a certain age, he becomes your father is always your father, and then the dynamics change. You become brothers, but he remains your father.
Wow.
And you start relating on different levels.
Now, Dr. Mosley, we're getting ready to go to a break real quick. Now, when we come back, I want to dive right into what we're talking about today, and that is don't tap out, but tap in.
All right.
Discovering the greatness inside of you.
That's right.
And I know because God has taken your ministry around the world, that you'll be able to help us discover and tap into the greatness that's inside of us.
Bless you.
You're listening to The Real with Neal show with my good friend, our father, Dr. Brian Mosley. We're getting ready to go to break. We'll be right back. That's a part of the song that I started dancing on.
Really?
Come on now, Dr. Mosley. Don't leave me out there now.
Right.
That's a part of the song I started dancing on. I'm trying to behave because we got the doctor in the building.
You don't have to behave.
I'm trying to behave. That's the part of the song I started dancing on. When she said, guess what, y'all? Baby's taking care of me.
That's
right.
That's what I'm living for. My baby. With some interest, shoot. You owe me. Yeah.
With
listen,
some interest.
What you say, Doc?
With some interest.
What you say?
Yes,
you
sir.
are listening to The Real with Neal radio talk show. And, man, I'm telling you, I'm on Cloud 9 today. We got Dr. Brian Mosley in the house with us today. And I'm telling you, he just got finished dropping some great nuggets, some great wisdom on us when we were talking about this thing called father and son.
Yes, sir.
And family, father, son, and family. And that is so important, especially in this time and generation that we're living in. So I want to dive right in, Prophet. I want to get to some meat of some stuff to really help the people. We're talking today about don't tap out, tap in, discovering the greatness inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And with you being who you are, and you're so humble. That's what I love about it. I mean, your spirit is just so amazing, so humble. I was at a funeral, and one of the bishops got up and said there was somebody said to him a long time ago, "Stay humble, because if you ever fall, it won't hurt."
That's a good one.
In other words, the fall ain't far to go.
Right.
If you stay humble.
Right.
Because you're already low to the ground.
What you say?
Yeah.
The fall ain't far to go. If you just stay humble, if you ever fall, it won't hurt. Because you ain't got far to go.
Your posture's already low to the ground.
Because you already were humble. And that thing stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so to have you here and to have this, man, we've shared before. We've sat down and ate dinner together.
Sure.
Your spirit is just so amazing. Matter of fact, I'll share this before you just dive into this and just help the people. When I first, I followed you, but my first interaction with you was at the Denny's.
On Benning Road.
Benning Road.
So you come, don't start from So you come walking in, and as always, you're always
Dressed to the
T. Yeah, like you just stepped out of a magazine. And at Denny's, mind you now, at Denny's. And you come walking in, and we're all sitting at the table, and we're like, "Oh my God, look at this man!" Who's this? And then somebody at the table said, "I think that's Prophet Mosley." And I'm saying, "No way, not here in Denny's. That's not him." And somebody said, "No, I think that's him." And then there was a gentleman sitting at the table. I think he got up to go to the restroom, and we asked, "Who was that? Was he with?" And he said, "That's Prophet Mosley."
Yeah.
And so I got up, I came to the table, and you shook my hand. And when you shook my hand, immediately you started to prophesy and speak over my life, and was so accurate, as if I had been with you all the time.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that was so amazing and so touching to my life, that I was like, oh my God. And even then, you were just so willing to give time, so willing to share, so willing to have conversation. And that thing really impressed me and really touched me and blessed my heart. And I'm just blessed to be able to say that I'm connected to you. So that of you being humble, and God has blessed your ministry to be able to go around the world, and you've been able to minister and do certain things. When we talk about don't tap out but tap in, discovering the greatness inside of you, how do you do that? How do you know? What do you do to be able to know, okay, there's something inside of me, there's something great inside of me, and then you're able to tap into that? How does that work?
Well, one of the things that I can only, and continue to pray for me, all of you, that you don't want to let people down, but you first don't want to let God down. It's interesting because there's something about humility, but life and the challenges and the vicissitudes and the going situations and situations, or whatever you want to call it, you find out it's a check. Like, you have to pinch yourself. You know, this is reality. And in my quest to discover, I had to learn how to sit with myself.
Wow.
And I had to learn how to have this relationship with God. When you're going to go somewhere, you have to first find out who is it that God wants you to be. And it takes time, and you have to have people around you that can say to you, this in fact is happening. I had some great people who left a great impression on my life, that didn't have a platform. Should have had one, but didn't. Their aim wasn't a platform. They didn't have that objective. They wanted to do what God wanted them to do. And so in my quest to find out, I always had this idea that I was going to do this, I was going to do that, until I became really involved in my relationship with God.
Wow.
And that happened when I was very young. I just sent him a picture when I realized I was musically inclined. I wanted to do a lot of different things, but it wasn't until I sat with myself and had this conversation with God and there was no resources. There was not a lot of information on how to do this and what to do and all of that. So I had to kind of learn hard knocks. And
Wow.
so I used to play the drums. I thought that I could do it, and I didn't understand what a pocket was. But I was just playing to help out.
Wow.
Played in 3 keys.
Wow.
You know, I was singing in school. But it wasn't until I had those experiences with God that I realized, there's something going on here. There were a whole lot of times I could have tapped out.
Wow.
But there was something we call God. We know God had something planned.
Now, would you say that, because you said something that was so key, and I can't let that slide, I can't let that ride. And you said you had to sit with yourself.
Yes.
So what?
And that's where meditation comes in. We're not taught in the Pentecostal church about meditation.
Wow.
We're taught about prayer. Because meditation has been given a bad rap because of yoga, because of Baha'ya, and because of all this other mysticism. But the Bible speaks about praying and meditating. And our meditation evolves around Christ and his love. We don't have to have an image. God is a spirit. They that worship it. And so those times when I meditate on him, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? Let me discover. I need to know, because I have to articulate what this is. And right now, I don't know what I'm saying.
Wow.
And so trial and error. Now today you don't have to do that if you have someone that's going to take you and mentor.
Yes.
See, that's the difference. There was those concepts or those terminologies weren't there. If they were, it was in another arena.
So, Dad, you said something powerful that I just have to make sure that I heard, that I know I heard. There is a difference between prayer and meditation.
Right.
Meditation is for one's self-awareness and for one to kind of evolve
Being
and to
conscious,
evaluate,
sure.
right, of
Absolutely.
oneself.
Right.
When prayer helps you to tap in to the thing God has for you.
Sure.
And when prayer and meditation comes together,
It's interchangeable.
It's interchangeable.
So you could do one. It's almost like praise and worship. You can start out praising God, end up in worship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or you can start out worshiping and end up in praise. So one is saying what he's done, and one is saying who he is.
Wow.
And then you start dealing with isness and I amness of God.
All right,
So,
Doc.
yeah. But however, the exciting thing about this whole experience is you have to, and then if you get it right in the beginning, then you know how to keep arrogance at a distance and ego. And you all have done something with that and said it's an acronym for edging God out. So, but again, as I'm saying and sharing, you have to sit with yourself. And I had those people that I experienced it when I came home from high school during those days in that picture. I was like any other young man. But I had a great prayer warrior, a lady who taught me how to pray. She said, you're going to learn how to pray. Because I don't want to hear you preach and if you don't know how to pray.
Wow. Wow.
Because it's the seasoning. It's the oil that goes into your seminary work or your research.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so would there be, would you say that it's safe to say that there must first be a self-awareness, a self-understanding,
consciousness of what, you have to know who you are. Now I got all that from Mom in a very practical way, I got that. The spiritual part I learned from my elders. See, so we stayed in our lane. We followed. That was then. Now it's a different thing because you have gifted people in church who want to, you tell them, okay, this is what I want you to do when you get up. And then you turn around, you go like this.
Okay, so doctor, let's ride that wave for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's ride that wave for a minute, doctor, because that's one of the things you said. You know, back then you followed.
Yeah.
Now, because we have some that are gifted,
Yeah.
and they see the potential and the talents and the anointing that's on their life, it's a little now challenging and a little problems for them to be able to follow what's being given them.
Right.
And so that's what you said. Sometimes you're sitting there with your arms folded, like, wait a minute, that is not the
what we discussed in the office.
So how is it? What is the balance to that?
Well, the balance is that it's a difficult time because of people, their conditioning, their early on, they're sitting down and hearing someone and listening to someone, and it goes back to what we see in our society today with our young people, young adults. You got to go back home with them.
Yeah.
Because you can't correct until you connect.
Wow.
That's where they're missing. Am I talking right?
Wow.
So we want to correct people, but you got to find out what happened. Why is it that he's pushing back and don't touch me? No, I don't want no man putting it, because of something that has gone on in their life. So they don't even understand their self-awareness.
Wow.
So that's why it's so demanding now. We are dealing with a generation that knew nothing about Joseph. They didn't sit in a class. They didn't go to YPWW or Baptist training or this one. No. These are young grandmothers.
Wow.
The grandmother has gone on, or she's at some home or someplace.
Right.
So you have you have your work cut out for you, especially now. Young guys say to me when I talk with them, first of all, they want to know who I am, and we talk, and they'll say, I'm a self-made man. I don't need no man telling me. I guess you run into guys. I don't need no man telling me what I can't do, and it's a defense thing. After I get through to them, 2 days later, they're calling me Pop. Because they have never had that exposure. There's another thing, exposure. Exposure is lacking in our churches. If you're just going to church and not expose kids and people to the other realities of the Bible, the other things of the Bible that God has spoken that you can have, they're like, I don't know nothing about that. They become ignorant to that. See, when I came along, the prophetic ministry or deliverance ministry was underground. They didn't want that in the traditional church. I've had people say that. I asked you to come to preach. I didn't ask you to pray for my people. So that's why when I would go, I was taught to ask the pastor, do you want me to pray for your people? Okay, we go back to following. So that's in my training. Follow. If I'm your member, if I'm a young person in your church, we would come to you and say, Pastor, there is an event going on at another church this afternoon. Is it okay that we go? And if that's right, if you said that, well, I'm going to go with you. And then when I leave, you leave. Because the pastor was our shepherd.
And why is that such a missing principle in our churches today? Because
I think, again, it's a lack of training, a lack of teaching, again, and a lack of example. We watched our leader. We honored him, but we watched them, whatever they said. And so it's different.
You said something, Dad, that just resonated in my spirit that I want you to talk about. You said there can be no correction without a connection.
That's right.
And there was a piece you and I talked about a few weeks ago, as you and I were you were imparting some things unto me. You were saying to me there can be no correction or connection without conversation.
Right. Now that's my book.
That's your book, and that's why I wanted to kind of throw that out there as
Right,
well, because
right.
you were saying that every major decision, whether it's for destiny or destruction, starts with a conversation.
Conversation. And God started the first conversation. And when you start there, then you can see how, and then when God stops talking, he stops talking with the serpent at some point. And then you see where the communication breaks down. There's no more conversation until we see in the book of Job where
Satan comes
and presents himself.
Yes.
And the question is asked.
Let's say this. I think that you're hitting something with how the conversation is internal with yourself and with God.
Right.
And the thing that is missing is, like you said, the ability to hear yourself. The Bible says that the spirit of the man is the candle of the Lord.
That's right.
So people are missing how to transition inside themselves. And they don't have anyone that knows how to walk them through those dimensions of themselves to tap into themselves.
And the challenge with that is that's why we have to stay close to our man of God.
Sure.
So what becomes to go back on to what Bishop Electra said. So what happens when you have those abilities to do that? As you said sometimes they don't have the individual to be able to tap into those things. What happens when you are able to do those things, but yet you still find it challenging with that individual?
Well,
so then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, you go back to, and I guess you're referring to the when you say having a challenge with it. There must be at some point, if you're going to engage with this individual, there has to be some trust there, openness. Everybody can't mentor.
Yes.
What you're doing with your sons and daughters, everybody can't do that. First of all, that you're the father, you're the parent. 60% of the people that I parent have no parent. A lot of the guys and a lot of the girls that I deal with, they give me the honor, but they have parents. And if it's see, all families are not operational, they're generational. See, they're not a workable situation. So, and we've all come out of some kind of dysfunction. And we can see that with Donald. But anyway, so it is, you can't say one group and that group and this group. The interesting thing, and this is what I get very disturbed with the media, is that whenever there's a mention of African American or Latino, it's always in a pathological context.
Wow.
When everyone comes from the dysfunction. And let me say this, since this is about the kingdom, where I couldn't say it on a secular platform without a big argument, and that is, our point of reference comes from God. Sin is the blame. It is the blame for everything. The bad choice. God gave them everything they needed in the garden. But he said, this is what I don't want you to do. Done. Whether it was an apple, whatever you want to call it, it was the forbidden fruit or whatever. God said not to do it. Here goes this conversation again. But not to take us off into something else. Again, that breakdown with the leader and the laymen. We have a lot of people coming that have church been abused. So this is what we deal with.
So Dad, let me ask you this on the dynamic of, and I hate using this terminology, millennials. I more so use young adults because I've talked to most young adults and they really don't like the terminology millennials because they say it is putting them in a category of labels. And if you notice, interracial dating is becoming a big thing now. The alternative lifestyle is becoming big because this generation doesn't believe in labels. So let's just say young adults. what would you say, because everyone in this room honors you as a father in the faith, honors you as a father in the prophetic, and just honors you as a father, period. I know my personal story of not having a biological father, but knowing that you were one of the persons, and I met him in Denny's as well. So I guess Denny, it's destiny at Denny's, I guess. It's destiny at Denny's. Had an opportunity to meet him at Denny's as well in a very low place in my life. And I was a young man, had hair here, no hair here, young, ambitious, but didn't know a thing. But here's where I'm going. What is the problem with a lot of young adults, young people, period, in this particular dispensation that's different from the fellowship that you had, even though you were great, even though you were gifted, even though you had the prophetic anointing, and you've been on the circuit now for 45 years, I believe?
Almost 50.
Almost 50 years. To have that type of longevity, but we see now a lot of flash in the pan preachers who have it in the beginning, but can't keep the longevity. But you, sir, have transcended time, culture, talents. What is the secret to the success?
There's no secret. It's relationship.
Okay.
Wow.
Just like he has, you have, and it's your relationship. You got to open your mouth up in the morning and say, "Thank you, Lord."
Wow.
And don't get the stuff, the Rolex and the Piaget and all of those stuff mixed up. That's the byproduct.
Wow.
The house, the condominium, that comes with the territory. Because if you want it, you're going to pay for it.
Seek ye first
the kingdom. You want to continue. Isaac built an altar everywhere he went, and that represented prayer. Now, even with the relationship, there are breakdowns. Because you got him here and you got him here, and he's telling you to do the right thing. And this one is saying, hey, she's beautiful though. But this one, somebody's going to win. It's up to you to listen. There's going, you know what? When you got saved, before you got saved, you had to purchase weed. You had to find stuff. Come on here.
Yeah.
Someplace to party. After you know, let me just go back here. When you get saved, it's like it's brought to here. Here.
They give it to you.
The bag. Well, when I wasn't saved, where was that at then? The enemy is the culprit. Wow. So just because we're saved doesn't insulate us. You know, we're still in they don't close down the strip club. And most brothers, and I say this, most people that are, if you're not saved, you've been challenged with these things are out there. What keeps us is our relationship with God. Don't want to break his heart. I don't want to do, thinking about what's this going to mean after and the consequences for what I've done.
And you spoke about relationship. Okay. You spoke about relationship. You said there's no secret.
Right.
It's relationship. And then you said there will always be a breakdown.
Yeah. In
any relationship.
Yeah.
So how do you remain functionable when the breakdown comes in the relationship?
Well, it's in maintenance, because like the person said, it's like the person said in my church years ago, God, marriages are made in heaven, and I said, yeah, but they're maintained down here.
Wow.
You know, it's like anything else. What kind of car you drive, what kind of vehicle, if you don't keep it up. It's obvious that she's smiling, not because she has 3 sable coats in the fur shop. She's smiling because you have been everything to her that you said you would be when you stood at the altar, and you showed her that before you got married. See, that's another thing. I wish I could come back and talk to ladies, because if he's stingy before, if he's not doing it before, don't expect after.
Just because you said I did.
Just because, you know. And I tell sisters that you've got to put them through, and I tell the brothers the same thing. Go home with her and find out how she relates to her daddy. And that's going to be key. But going back to what you're saying.
And Doctor, we're going to touch that because I think this maintenance thing is going to be real major to the show today.
Okay.
And so we're going to touch that when we come back. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come right back with Dr. Brian Mosley on the Real with Neal talk show.
Looking for a new look? Check out Hair Academy 2 in the Shops at Iverson, Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. You'll get quality services done by developing stylists and barbers. Senior discounts offered weekly and free barbershop services available when you present a flyer. Chemical treatments are also available. Call 301-899-9100 for hours of operation. Hair Academy 2 in the Shops at Iverson, 3705 Branch Avenue, Suite 1010, lower level, Hillcrest Heights. A new look is waiting for you at Hair Academy 2. The Shops at Iverson is now undergoing a transformation, creating a mixed-use center where the community can come together to eat, shop, relax, and feel connected. The Shops at Iverson is a 600 KSF mixed-use property consisting of retail and office space now available. Located inside the Beltway on Branch Avenue, Maryland, just minutes from downtown D.C. It's an exciting time at the Shops at Iverson. Several beautiful renovation projects are ongoing, transforming the Shops at Iverson into the new safe community hub. DMV, get ready to enjoy the new food court. Opening late spring, early summer, featuring new restaurants like Chipotle, Quickway Hibachi, Tropical Smoothie, Wingstop, and free Wi-Fi. The Shops at Iverson, the original home of the world-famous Snickerdoodle cookies, is completing several cosmetic improvements to the mall interior, facade, and parking garage. The Shops at Iverson is the new home of Go Win Media, comprised of the DMV's premier internet radio stations, Go Radio Live, and Win DC Radio. For updates and more details, check out shopiverson.com. That's shopiverson.com.
I love this song. This song just declares that God makes us better. Come on, if you believe it, somebody shout better. God makes us better. Got every trial, every tribulation. I thank you. You make me better. You make me better. I'm nothing without you. I'm better. I'm better. You make me better. You make me better. I'm nothing without you. I'm better. Come on, can you lift that? Sing, you make me better. Whoa. Sing, you make me better. Sing, I'm nothing without you. I'm better. Come on, I dare you to grab it all over the house tonight. Sing, you make me better. It's all because of you, Lord. Oh, I'm nothing without you. I just need your hand, Lord.
Make me better.
I just need your heart, oh Lord.
Make me better.
business, our finances, our lives, our minds. You're making us better tonight. Come on, let's lift it up. Hey! You make me better. Oh, better. Yeah. You make me better. Somebody sing it tonight. Because of you. Yes, Lord. You made me. Thank you, Lord. All things are passed away. Behold. Better. Jeremiah Hicks, one of DC's
Yes,
finest.
sir. Yes, sir.
Jeremiah Hicks, that's my guy. One of DC's finest. You make me better, and sitting here with the doctor himself,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Brian Mosley. You make me better. Want you to know that you make me better, man. Doctor, just the things that you've said so far on the show has it's pricked my heart. Has opened up my mind and my understanding. The Bible says, in all that getting,
Oh, yeah.
get an understanding. And has opened up my mind to a lot of things that brought some clarity to even some things that I struggled with coming in today, some issues that I face in life. And just listening to some of the things that you were saying today has brought great awareness of that. And I just want to say thank you for being you and being such a great gift to the body.
That's what I am, a gift to the body, and you're a gift to the body. And once we realize that, we go back to the tap-in thing, because you've tapped into what the gift is. But greater than that is not the gifting, but the God who gives the gift. And it's something that doesn't, but it belongs to Him. I'm a steward of it, you know. And so.
You talked about you said you said every relationship will always have a breakdown.
Yeah.
And I think that's key of first understanding. Nothing is perfect.
Right.
No.
I'll go back and chime in on how we started. 17 years of being with this woman. Met her at 15, married at 23, 5 kids in the picture. There's going to be breakdowns.
Yeah.
In the relationship.
Right.
But you get a word that I think we need to talk about, whether it be church, whether it be business, whether it be friendship, whether it be relationship, maintenance. Maintenance. How important is maintenance to anything, survival to longevity?
If you have plants, now all of us are organic because of our creation.
We come from the earth.
We come from the earth. And we have to go back to the manual, and that's the book, the Bible. And a lot of us, we don't do enough of that. And we're involved in this technology now, and we don't realize that we're missing a whole lot of stuff because we don't go back and ask these questions. So in anything, you bring a plant home, and if you don't water it, if it doesn't get the sun, if you don't turn the soil, at some point it will die. We have to be careful of taking things for granted.
Wow.
And you're in a relationship, you've been together for 17 years. And the reason why it's like it is, it's wonderful because you've never taken her for granted. She's never taken you for granted. It's in everything. All truth is parallel. We should not take God for granted. He didn't have to do it.
My.
That goes back to the old church. We sing a song, but He did.
Wow.
How can I say thanks for all you've done for me? All of that comes in because you understand that you didn't take God for granted. You didn't take your life for granted. You don't take this relationship you have with. So what are you saying? You don't say nothing for a whole week, 2 weeks, because you're upset at what happened on the job, and you're disgusted. But this is not God's fault. You've been consistent in prayer. You've been doing what you're supposed to do, maintenance. But if you don't, at some point, stop and look up and say, from whence cometh my help? Or you're just going to wait until something tragic happens. So we tend to believe, or we have this idea that everything is just automatic. She's just going to, no, that's not how it works. It's not automatic. Maintenance is, you got to take care of it. You got to nurture it. And people know when there's nothing happening, there's no emotion. Okay, thank you.
Wow.
Okay, families are operating like that.
Wow. Wow.
It's like, okay, kids learn early on how to fake because they see fake coming up.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
But this is bad because after a while it catches up with you. That's why we're dealing with an entitled group of people now. They feel like, now you went away for 7 days. You come back. What did you bring us back? Excuse me. We came back, your parents.
Wow.
Talk good, sir.
We left here, made sure that you had all this stuff.
Jesus.
This is the society or the culture or the attitude of a lot of people.
Wow.
And that's why when you meet people, you got to make sure. You got to get down to the nitty gritty.
Now, it's funny that you would even say that, Doctor, because I can remember when my dad would go out of town. And the truth of the matter is, we never looked for him to bring us anything back. We just wanted him to hurry up and come back.
Yeah.
And so it was that of missing him,
right,
not being in the house, that we so wanted him to hurry up and come back. And so we asked him how long, Dad's going to be at this revival, or he's coming back. So we wanted him to come back. It was the bonus that he brought us something back from the trip he was on.
Yeah.
And so that's funny that you would say that, because now the kids are expecting you to bring them something back. And so if you don't bring them nothing back, they're not really too happy to even see you walk through the door. They just want to know what you got in your hand.
Everything is so superficial.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. I think because we are so materialistic, everybody is about stuff. It's not about what I can do to serve, or how can I help you, or what do you need help with. It's more of a thing of tit for tat. You do for me, I'll do for you. So for me, there's been a loss of the pureness of just being a servant. Because as a servant, you don't look for anything in return. Only thing you want to know is, what can I do to help you? So when we take that from the church and put it in the house, it goes wrong in the house. That's how it's gotten wrong in the church. Because at the house, we are no longer teaching our kids to value the things that we may give them. Now it's like an automatic. That's how Prophet was saying how, oh, well, you didn't bring me anything back. It's not, hey, we missed y'all. How you doing? How was your trip? Oh, there's nothing in the bag for us. You didn't bring us anything. So we're now dealing with a world that is materialistic, about self, and about what you can do for me. Back when I was coming up, it was, thank you for whatever I get. I appreciate it because it was your hard-earned money that did this. So whatever you're giving me, or whatever you're giving to me, I'm going to appreciate it because you thought enough of me to do this. Now it's automatically, you didn't think about me.
Sure. And here's the thing that's major, and Bishop-elect brought it up during the break, and I think we need to touch on this, is we no longer have, and I'm just paraphrasing it, we no longer have a rubric or a model in which these type of attributes of spirituality, prayer, prophetic overflow, all of these things have not been transferred because we don't have that example anymore. I mean, you got to notice we've had major generals over the last 15, 20 years, and I'm not talking about no small time guys or ladies. Right. We're talking about major folk in the faith who have transitioned with, watch this, the mantle, but not many people have caught it.
Right. And what it's turned to is derivative ministry instead of the actual development ministry. For example, you have more people focusing on spiritual gifts than the fruit of the Spirit, because you need the fruit to balance the gift. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what's really the problem. And then when you think about the relationship dynamic, Jesus spent a lot of time with his disciples. 3.5 years they were together every day. And the problem is we're training people, it's just in between, the interim generation are training people to just do ministry from a standoffish relationship rather than an authentic, genuine relationship. Because truth be told, if you really get down to it, they haven't really got all the accoutrements to their own development. So they are mimicking and pretending what they have. And so we have a void in the midst of the spirit realm among people. And so they can't impart what they don't have. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It is, and that's good stuff, D-Mal and Bishop. Like that's good stuff, even to the point of the lady, things that she was saying. That's good substance of things that we can really grasp and hold on to the doctor. Is there a in this generation we're in this season that we're in, is there a remedy? Is there really a fix to the whole thing of being taken for granted? Is there even a realistic remedy to fix this?
Sure. What you're doing now with this kind of platform and what you demonstrate daily in your home and with your family, kids have to see it, and they see the way you relate to yours, and they go home and say, that's what I want my father to be like. Kids have to see it. And mentoring or receiving something or an impartation, you got to be around. You got to be in the proximity.
Wow.
And there has to be, it goes back to the relationship piece, you see. The other thing is you can't expect something from an individual that does not have it, like you said, or what you were saying. If you have not experienced love, then how do you impart that? You can't give what you don't have. And that's the big challenge of the church. And the church's challenge right now is because we are in this competition. A lot of churches across America, even Joel Osteen, they have gone to one service now because it's declining across America. Pastors are saying, I can't bring you for 4 days. I can only bring you on my good days.
Wow.
Sunday and a couple other days. There's some churches that will, but there is a decline, and the declining, it has been going on for some time. But I think the other part of this is when you take sacred and you mix it with secular, and then there is no demarcation.
Wow.
There has to be, the Bible, there is a difference between the clean and the unclean.
Yes, sir.
And so this takes us into a whole nother conversation, because there are people that are now watching us, viewing us like you're doing now. FaceTiming. I ain't going to no church.
Yeah.
I go to church. And so then they bring up this argument that they stay too long. What is your team, your basketball team?
Oh, I like the old Bulls.
How long are you there in the stadium with a good game?
A good game.
Until it's
It's
over.
wow.
It can be more
even
than
after the game is over. If it's an exciting game, I'm going to sit there a while.
Okay, so people will say, you got to hurry up with your message now.
Yeah.
Praise team can't sing a whole lot.
Yeah.
You see, so it has come into the church. Now I'm not talking about, and see, then we want a move of God, but we're not willing to anticipate and wait for it.
Wow.
It's just so, and that's because of that older crowd that prepared They prepared the ground for it.
Yes, sir.
See, and they were prepared before they got to your place.
Yes, sir.
So 3 hours passed, and they were like, you know what? This is interesting. It's a different time. There's a lot of factors when it comes to declining numbers. Declining is a lot of factors, and one of the real challenges for us is that years ago we weren't in competition. When I came along, if we had 10 members, we acted like it was 10,000 people.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're so busy doing a census, you know, how many out there, Doc, instead of going out there and just letting God have his way. So there's a lot of things happening.
And because it's Real with Neal. That's the name of the show.
Now.
It is called Real with Neal. I'm gonna tap into what you said and just to show a real moment. And as you said, the decline, it's felt all around the world. And so that's where I'm at. That's what I'm feeling in the season that I'm in with the ministry. I'm feeling that decline. And so I come out Sunday, and I'm sitting there, and instantly the spirit of depression comes over me. The spirit of depression comes over me, and I'm sitting there, and worship is going on, praise is going on, and I'm almost sitting there numb. Really.
Yes,
I'm almost
sir.
sitting there numb
Yes, sir.
to what's going on, because I'm now asking God and questioning God why, what, when, how these things are going through my mind. And something says to me, you know, just get up, say something nice, defer from the message, just say something nice, say something rather, you know, inspirational, just send the people home and take that. And just as I was getting ready to fall to that, the Spirit said to me, no, do the assignment that I gave you, give the word that I've given you. And I get up and I start to deliver the word, and while I'm in the beginning stages of delivering the word, there's a gentleman sitting off to my right, there's a gentleman sitting in front of me. The gentleman in front of me starts to outwardly express what he's going through and where he is and how the word is meeting him, and the gentleman to my right starts to cry, and he stands up and said, this is what I need, this is where I am. And it's amazing that you would even come and say what you said, because I'm just experiencing this yesterday. And to have you come, a lot of times we get caught up, as you said, in what we see.
Yeah.
And we miss the assignment.
Miss the assignment, miss delivering the assignment, and we're so caught up with numerics.
Censorship.
And like I said, so David was told, I believe it was, not to count
To
them.
pick your success.
See, and of course,
No.
people go to these conferences, and they have this idea that after I spent the money, been there for 3 days, I can bring this back to my church.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like
No,
that,
it
because
doesn't.
every church has a different culture.
No, it doesn't work.
We
That's
talked
right.
about that.
And
It doesn't.
every
that.
church has a different vision.
That's right.
And what pastors need to do, they need to find out what the vision of this house is. What are we supposed to be doing in this city? See, how
Tap in.
it goes back to what you spent today, tapping into what we are doing, what we are supposed to be doing in this hour.
Wow.
And if we continue down this path, we're going to miss the whole point. Gospel, the death, burial, and the resurrection. Everything that we do, the objective is soul winning. And we are in great need of an evangelistic department around the country.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We are in great need of, because what's happening to a lot of the, what you would call a major house, or what's happening now is people are under such obligations financially that they've got cost, and they got to meet this stuff by the 13th or by the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
Those numbers have to compute. Hey, you can't have error now, because your
That's right.
mortgage is 70,000.
That's
Come
right.
on,
I don't know how these guys can do it. And if you miss a month, then you got other costs in there built in. So then you have other things that you have to do, other commitments, other conferences. We're leaving the local church, and there's nothing happening. People are wandering. People are going to malls. They're going to casinos. They're leisuring. And all of these are people that should be involved in kingdom work, but because of there are other priorities. You know, and church was coming and being here and being invested in your ministry was an important thing years ago.
Now, can we take that, Doctor, and use it universal? I know we're talking church, and you said you got to find out what your assignment is. What have you got to tap into to find out what you've been called to do in the city? What is your assignment and where you are?
Right.
Now, can we take that universal as the same thing of family, same thing of businesses, entrepreneurship? That at the end of the day, a lot of times, even with the family, could it be sometimes that we start to fall off a little because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses?
Sure.
So now in the family, we haven't even tapped into what our family should be doing.
Most guys believe, and I say this, and I hope you guys are listening to me out there, most guys believe that this house is the gatekeeper. And when you bring up somebody else's name, they say, oh, I don't know what he's doing. And that's pure arrogance.
Pure arrogance.
And I say it, I don't care if you got 5,000, 50,000, or 50 people, leave that alone.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not talk about, because you are a gatekeeper. If you're doing what you're doing, let's do the work of ministry, and not talk about that we got 22 vans running around the state, picking up. Just do it.
Wow.
Just do it. The other problem we have is celebrity.
Wow.
And it's to the point when you understand what's happening to us right now, because see, and to really speak to the issue, you got to pull these layers back. When you got guys and gals that believe that they ought to be in Hollywood or they ought to be some star. God is not in the business of making stars, because I believe if you turn the word around, it spells rats. So we have to understand this is not what this is all about. But until we're going to have this, there's a declining everywhere. And the guys that don't want you to believe it, it's happening.
It's happening.
And then the other problem we have, it's become a big business.
Wow.
So they're buying churches.
Yeah.
And putting certain people. And I know because I've been in the midst of the conversations and I know what's going on. And it's become also a family business. Now I'm going to back up off that real to Neal, Neal to real. Because if we're not careful, it would become a mom and pop store.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't care how gifted that boy is. There ain't nothing about him.
That's right.
Because they have a vested interest in something else going on here.
That's right.
Now, whether the girl is ready, she's got to be ready to take over, because this is a family. And there's no model for that.
Wow.
There's no biblical model for it, but there's a business model.
Doctor, you're giving us good stuff, sir.
It's dynasty. It's dynasty.
Dynasty.
Sir.
That's what's happening going on.
Sir.
They dynasty.
The dynasty.
Yeah.
Listen,
My
you're
God.
listening to the one. You're
My
listening to the one and
God.
only Dr. Brian Mosley. We're getting ready to take a break, and we're going to come right back at you on the Real with Neal show here with the one and only Dr. Brian Moses. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey! What game show is this? We going on a game show right now. Can y'all tell me what game show this is? Stop. I'm going to direct the choir. Is that all right? Tell me why we keep playing games. Oh no, it's coming is so soon. No one knows the day or hour. Midnight or in the afternoon, but he's the best.
Well, look, we're back, and we're in the final stretch of wrapping up this amazing show with Dr. Prophet Brian Mosley, and sitting here with Bishop-elect Farmer, just talking and dialogue and some good things. Bishop-elect, Dr. Mosley said something that was so profound. He said sometimes there's a problem with what we're doing when we try to mix sacred with secular. Mm-hmm. And when you start to mix sacred with secular, mm-hmm. then you have a problem. It starts to be a detachment. Mm-hmm. And you find yourself in that of a falling away. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about some things before Prophet, since he stepped off. We talked about some things where, you know, the preparation, mm-hmm. the proper preparation mm-hmm. for ministry. You know, mm-hmm. Prophet said something that just blew my mind. And there's no more than, I'm sure, conversations you have as a pastor, conversations I have mm-hmm. with my wife as a pastor, is that of ministry is Monday through coming into Sunday.
That's right.
Well, a lot of times people just run in mm-hmm. for Sunday. That Sunday becomes like the Super Bowl.
That's
we come in, have a grand time, and then after that, Monday through Saturday falls the chance. You know, it kind of falls dormant. And he said that's kingdom.
That's kingdom.
You know, and so that's powerful. He said if you're doing Monday through Saturday, mm-hmm. that's kingdom.
That's right, because families every day of the week, all day long. You just don't cut family on and off.
All day.
When you get home, and you may have gone to work, but when you come home, the kids are looking to talk to you. And so it goes right back to what he was saying. When we if we can get a remnant of people to go back to the original origin of why we are doing ministry, then we will see the revival, true revival, happen, and we'll see people getting into the place where they'll tap into their individual genius.
Tap into it. And I think we have to get back to. Doctor said so mm-hmm. much today. I mean, just so much great wealth and knowledge to be a help. Mm-hmm. But we have to get back to tapping into first the true identity mm-hmm. of who you are and what you've been called to do, whether it be ministry, mm-hmm. whether it be marriage, mm-hmm. you know, whether it be the family, mm-hmm. whether it be a business. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things that the doctor said is that we fall to the chance of competition. Mm-hmm. So because we fall to the chance of competition, mm-hmm. it takes the attention off of what have you been really called to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe what they're doing over there, that's not your calling.
Let me say this. When you look at the scriptures, it says esteem a man higher than yourself. Mm. We have gotten away from building other people to build ourselves.
Wow.
Luke 16:12 says, if you have not been faithful in another man, how will I give you that which is your own?
Wow.
So what we're missing is the camaraderie of Christ.
Wow.
We're missing that. We're missing the connection, like you said, where you are actually seeing yourself, loving your neighbor as yourself. And see, I found out I was going through what you was going through, if I could be honest. I had several church splits, and I've declined. It'll grow, and it'll come down. And then it'll mess with your psyche, mess with your identity. And the Lord said, stop focusing on that. I want you to take what you have left, which is a good seed, and start investing in other people. Just keep investing.
Wow.
Isaac sowed in the year of the famine. And what happened?
We did the same year.
And
Revelation.
And you said something, and I'm going to tag. I'm going to tag that. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys, instead of them putting their attention on who's left, mm-hmm. they're talking about who left.
Right.
So that our attention ought to be who's still there.
Who's still there?
Then all churches go through these cycles. It's called cycles. Mm-hmm. Some churches have been fortunate if they have 30 or 40 people that have gone or not coming. Mm-hmm. They still have enough people mm-hmm. to make up for that.
Sure.
Great. Again, this is another conversation, a whole nother talk show mm-hmm. when it comes down to the large, what people call mega, which actually mega has nothing to do with numbers. Mm-hmm. Mega has to do with impact. Mm-hmm. So people say that's a mega. Your ministry is mega. Your ministry is mega. We're making an impact. So you can have a good church with 30 people.
Yes, you can.
The other thing is, find out what the niche is. Find out what it is that I'm supposed to be doing in Washington, what I'm supposed to be doing in PG. You got to know that. We know that the goal is and the objective is to preach the gospel. And the Bible says, go ye into, didn't say sit ye, go ye into all the world. And so we have our work cut out for us.
Now, Doctor, there's no way I can do this show and not, the people are they're chopping the lips, licking the chops. They're ready because they know who I got sitting here, and they're saying, "Come on, Neal. You say this is real with Neal, but come on, man. You're tap dancing around it all. Come on,
Okay.
Bring it to me." So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Prophecy and the people. People and prophecy. Now, I'm not going to shoot straight with you.
What's the question?
Let's talk about this thing, prophecy.
Okay.
Let's talk about prophets who are out now.
Right.
Because unfortunately, this generation of prophets have given guys like yourself a bad rep.
Right. And I think I said something to you early on. And I'm gonna come back after.
So people saying to me,
what I said to him when he opened up his program, just before he opened up, I said to him, instead of referring to me as Prophet Mosley, I want you to refer to me, give me another, the doctor.
Yes, sir.
Or you can just call me Brian. The bottom line is, it's been exploited. It has made some preachers, male and female, look like what I call snake oil preachers. Woo. They come to town with a bag of tricks.
Snake oil.
So, or exhibitionists.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And so, show me, and all of this, instead of having oil on their life, instead of moving, they just and it's a hustle.
Wow.
It's a hustle.
God.
Wow.
It's become a. I'm not saying everybody, but it's become a hustle, because here we have a text in the Bible where the prophet stands up there and he's lamenting and he's all upset, and he says, this, that, and the other, and God speaks and says, hold up here, I have 7,000 that haven't bowed to Baal, nor kissed his images. So I'm not getting into that. I will get into the fact that the prophetic, whether it's a woman doing it or a man doing it, has come to the point where people are like, okay, all right, I know what this guy's all about. I know what this lady's all about, because she's getting ready to hit us for some jingle. So, and we have pastors that have fostered and have played into it. Because, again, this guy's got a $20,000 mortgage.
Yeah.
He's got another $3,000 worth of expense. So he's got to bring somebody in to fill the seats. It's not only the prophets, it's in ministry. When you look out here, they're not calling you because God laid you on their heart. I've been around for a long time. I don't care who sits around the table with me.
Yeah.
It comes down to who's going to fill these seats.
And raise the money.
They would rather give it to a comedian.
Wow.
That slash guy, or a Harvey or whoever.
Wow.
Than to say, let this guy or let this girl. That's true. And I'm telling you, if you're out there listening to me, the anointing can do anything. You don't. But because you're anointed,
talk to us,
does not mean that you're going to some major platform.
Wow.
You probably won't go because you have convictions, and because you're not going to subject yourself to being complicit to certain things that goes on in certain houses. Now, I'm just going to tell it like it is.
Please do.
Since it's real Neal.
It's real with Neal. Please do.
It's what it is. And it goes back to Paul meeting with this woman in the Acts church. It was something that went down then, and it goes back further than that with Balaam. Balaam saw an opportunity to say, you know what? And when you do that, you get yourself in trouble. There was another incident in the Bible where a king asked, am I going to win this battle? Come on. And what happened? The prophets lied.
Wow. Wow.
And what, as a result of that, they got slaughtered.
Wow.
Now, I'm saying to you out there,
Talk to us.
I want you to understand how serious a matter this is.
Yes, sir.
Let God do it in your life.
Wow.
Everybody is not going to be prophetic. A whole lot of people are going to be pathetic.
My God. My God.
And again, I'm looking for oil. I'm looking for the flow. At the end of the day, I want the pastor to say, 3 people joined my church as a result of you coming and were baptized and they were filled with the Holy Spirit, and the Lord added to the church. The African American church, come on, chime in, because you know what's happening now? We're recycling, and we're not, it ought to be so awesome in our services that we shut down the club down the street.
Yes. Yes.
We don't have that focus.
And because we're in competition. Listen, Beyonce has nothing on the girl on the choir that's anointed, because the anointing makes a difference. We're not talking about talent right now, because the church got a problem with that. You don't even know the difference between talent and anointing.
Come on.
See?
There is a difference.
So when we look at this, it's this is where we are now. And so people come, they've already have an assumption of me when they come. Here's Elvis Presley. Yeah, here it. You've been sized up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you even get here, Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
And when the power falls, it's nothing about that.
Yes, sir.
And they say, wow, my life was changed. That's what I like hearing. That my life was changed when I heard the message, when I heard and how God spoke.
Yes.
And so for everything real, there is a counterfeit.
Yes.
It takes 2 wires to have light. Electricians know it takes a positive and a negative. So you're going to have the negative, it's going to be there. Because when Jesus was on earth, they walked around, and the Sadducees and the Pharisees stood back and called him a phony. He's a hypocrite, everything, especially when he started dealing with unsaved sinners.
Yes, sir.
They wrote him off. And it was only in the 6th chapter of John where there was no more crowds. Because at that point now, Jesus had stood up and he said, except you eat my flesh and drink of my blood. And that's when the church left. That's when they said, okay, we done now.
Yeah.
Now you went too far now. You talking about eating your flesh.
Cannibalism, yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
And the Bible said his own disciples walk no more with it. Whew. When it comes to that point, and then we know what happened after that, it is what we're dealing with today. It separates the men from the boys. Reality, the real, it's going to break up. It's going to break up a house.
And I'm listening to what you're saying, and Dr. Mosley, wow. I gave a $100 bill to my wife. Actually, I gave her 2 $100 bills, and I said to her, "Tell me which one is real, and tell me which one is fake."
Right.
And she's holding them because of the naked eye. You could not tell the difference. She's holding one in her hand, and I knew which one it was because I gave it to her, so I knew which one was real, and I knew which one was fake. And she's holding it in her hand, and she says, well, I'm not sure, she says, but this one feels funny for some reason. It doesn't feel like this one, but it looks the same. And then she cut the light on, and she took both of them
Held him to the light.
and held them up to the light. And she says, this one is fake. I said, how can you tell? She says, if you look here on the fake one, you don't see the face.
Don't see the face.
There's a corner of the money that has a circle.
Thank God.
And the face, I feel something coming. The face is embedded
Inside the bill.
inside that bill. And unless it's held up to a light, you can't see the face. So the counterfeit one has the chance to slide through.
And that's what happens. You preached. That's what happens to ministry. That's where we are, because we're not holding it up to the light.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And when you don't hold it up, the light is the standard. Isaiah over there in Isaiah, except to the law and to the prophet, if there's no light in. And so this is where we are now. You see, and we got everybody else's face on the ministry except for Christ. He ought to be the face
of the ministry.
He's the brand,
Sir.
not my brand.
Sir.
He's the one that we should be marketing. What he did for us, he died and rose again. You see, we are now operating with some kind of spirit in the church. At some point, it's got to be checked.
Yes, sir.
Because we're messing up a generation growing up.
Yeah.
It's the face of it.
It's the
The
face
standard,
of it.
the integrity of
the
the light.
standard,
The light.
and you got it's got to. Can it stand the test of the light?
And you got to make sure you have the right light.
And if you don't, and this is where the breakdown is. You see, I believe that. Go ahead.
And because I'm in the banking world, here's what's interesting about your
You got some
analogy.
money on you? I mean, I just thought I'd
Pass it
ask.
both ways.
Because I'm in the banking world, and it's something major you said that resonated in something that now that they're getting to the place where they're trying to put a face inside the counterfeit.
Wow.
But now it depends on what type of light it is that's going to be able to expose
The face.
the face of whether it's something that has been artificial or something that's authentic.
So wait a minute.
I got something to add to it, but it's not just, I done cut my mic all the way down because I ain't had nothing to say. I was listening. The thing is this, they started out with the face in the corner, but then people that make counterfeit money, they became hip to it.
Yes.
So now they put a strip on the opposite side that only reflects under that light. So you got the face and you got the strip, but they both have to match up with that light. So you can't get away from the standard. You can't get away from the light. But that's where we are now. We only look at one portion. We only look at, like people, this is just me. You come to church for the singing. You ain't looking at the light. You come to church for the liturgical dance. That's not the light. Everybody wants to run, and I love Prophet Mosley, and he's never said anything that has not happened or has not come to pass. So if you tell me something, I know it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, you have these people which prophets say they come and prophesy and they prostitute because it's about the money. But my thing is to the pastor, to the shepherd of that house. You know what's going on. So where's your light in this?
I think
Has your light been cut out?
And you foster it. You're under such an obligation, and so you foster this kind of thing. You open the door to her or to him. See, there you go. You open the door to a lot of foolishness.
But
So
I think you
when-
said it best, Doctor,
Right.
because of the overhead.
Yeah, well, they're struggling. These guys are struggling to keep these places. Don't let them fool you.
And a lot of times, Dad, is because, now here's where I'm going to get in trouble. It's a lot of times because the places that you call yourself God told you to do, he never did it.
No.
So it wasn't your vision or it wasn't God's vision, because if he gives you the vision, he's going to provide the provision.
But here, to your point, bro, and it goes back to yet again the character and the integrity of this man that we have sitting at the table that we do not take for granted or we take lightly.
At all.
I remember talking to Prophet, probably for me the last time I saw him in town. I think he might have been at your church the last time I saw him. Yeah, and we met him at the hotel and took him out to eat.
Yes.
And we're sitting in the restaurant and we're eating and talking, and he says to me, he says, Neal, and that's my fault, so I do stand to be chastised and corrected today. I'm sorry, Prophet. He said, Neal, I want to come and I want to help you. I want to be a blessing to you. He said, put something together. I want to come and I want to help you. And I said to him, I said, Prophet, I'll put it together, but I have to find a venue to take it, because if we put out that you're coming, we're going to get a massive people to come. And he said to me, sitting at the table, don't do that. He said, I want to come where you are. Even if we have to do something, put TVs outside so people can see, I want to come where you are to help where you are. And it goes back to what you're saying. We get a lot of times, people come to your ministries, prophets come, oh, I see, God, you're bigger than this. You need to get out of this. And God is saying in next month, you're going to be in a new facility. When you're struggling in the one you're in.
Exactly.
Well, you got to do the math, and you know what you can afford to do, and what the budget is. And like, you know, I have said this often.
They don't set budgets.
Well, you know, and then people are just doing stuff because they want to be relevant.
Yes, sir.
And the Bible, and I say this, I throw this out there, preachers, listen to what I'm going to say. We were never called to be relevant. Jesus was not relevant. We are not to be relevant. We are cutting edge, okay. But to be relevant, well then why would somebody
You'll
come
die
from...
with irrelevance.
That's right. Jesus always went against the grain. And he's the model. He's the model.
He's the light.
Everybody's
the true
not
light.
going to have...
Lighteth.
Right.
world.
Right. Everybody's not going to have... You have to find out. Everybody's not going to have 1,000 members.
Yeah.
Too much is given, much is required,
Yeah.
and God, the guy that has 10,000 members, hey, he's got some that I don't have.
Right.
That's fine, but I'm doing what I'm doing. You see, so if you start with this competitiveness, it's going to end up dragging you down. The other factor that's happening in the body of Christ is stress. Because now you're under so much stress to meet budget and schedules that it's starting to affect your health.
Prophet, we got 4 minutes left and I got to get out of here. Can you just sum this show up by just one thing? You said so much today, just one thing we can take that will help us tap into the greatness that's in us, that will help us move forward.
If God has given you a new start, don't repeat the past.
Good night. I'm done.
Well,
Show over.
Prophet,
Thank you, Prophet. I appreciate you coming.
Prophet Brian Mosley, thank you so much.
God.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you. I love you.
Bless you.
Thank you for being willing
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
to come and be a part of this. To this great man of God, Bishop Elect
Bless you, sir.
Farmer, thank you so much for
welcome,
coming,
sir.
sharing, sitting
Thank
in
you
with
for
me.
your
Always to my man D-Mile. Love you, dude, and appreciate you. To the lady that's been hanging in there with me, says she gonna ride this until the wheels fall off.
17 on 17.
And we had a couple of flat tires, but thank God we had spares.
Hey, we got spares.
And I appreciate y'all. To everybody that have listened, take the video, share it, let the world know that the prophet was with us. If you've been listening to us way of internet radio, thank you so much for chiming into the show week after week. We pray that we have been a blessing to you. Listen, there is something great inside of you, and it's time for you to tap into it. Where are you next, Prophet? Where are you going to be at next?
This week I'm in Connecticut, I'm in New York, and a couple of other places that I'll be, and just flowing.
Just flowing.
Flowing and going.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Flowing and going.
I just believe that, and we're having, and summer's about to be here. What, in a couple of days?
Yeah.
So you can imagine if it's warm like it is now, it's indicator or indicative of. I don't know. Whatever. Just don't repeat the past.
I love it. I love it. I love you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, tap into what's inside of you.
That's right.
It was put like this: for greater is he
All right.
that is in me than is he that is in the world. And whatever you do, whether it be ministry, whether it be business, whether it be family, whatever it is, hold it up to the light.
That's right. That's it.
Hold it up to the light and see that if it meets the face of God.
Yeah. Because he makes you better.
Yes, he does. He makes you better. And
Father knows best.
He makes you better. Father knows best. This man has come with the wealth of information today and has blessed us. Lady, you got something to say? I got to get out of here.
We always give our, I'm so messed up. We always give our closing remarks. I just want to say, I always do my final remarks to the young ladies that may be watching. I came to tell you that despite where you may be in life, no matter what it is, your situation or your circumstance, remember that God is the only thing that can lead, direct, and show you the path in which you ought to take. A mistake is not your final destination. A mistake is just a platform to propel you to where God will have you to go. In all things, seek him first and know that God is Lord, that he can take you to where man cannot. Not your money, not your fame, nor your fortune. But if you seek him first, God can do all things in your life.
I love it. I love you. Thank you so much. Until, you know what I'm going to say at this particular time of the show. Until next time, it has been your time with Real with Neal. We'll holler at y'all next week. Love y'all and praying for you.
Thank you so much again.
Thanks for coming.